Get yourself prepared in a kneeling position on the mat with your toes together at the back and knees mat width apart. Walk your hands out into a child's pose. It's an active child's pose, so elbows up off the mat and forehead up off the mat, stretching out through your shoulders, creeping your fingertips forwards to open up through the back, rocking your shoulders from side to side just to loosen up through the back and deepen the stretch into the hips. Breathing throughout, deep breaths in and full breaths out to deepen into the stretch. Holding here for a breath or two more. And walking your hands back towards your knees to a box 4-point kneeling or tabletop position, wrists directly beneath the shoulders, knees directly beneath the hips. And pushing through the palms and arching up into a cat-cow and dropping down, lifting the head and lifting the sacrum, pushing through to flex the spine, lifting the center of the back up to the ceiling. As you drop down, extending the spine, lifting the head up to increase that extension. Again, inhaling in one direction and exhaling in the other. Tucking that tailbone under as you arch your back up. Dropping the head. Tucking the toes and pushing back through the palms and dropping into the heels into a downward facing dog. Walking out through the heels to stretch through the calves and the hamstrings. Pushing through the palms all the time to stretch through the shoulders. And just softening the knees very slightly to deepen into the stretch through the back, to drop between the shoulders. Get those arms in line with the back. Rock the shoulders from side to side to open up the shoulders and through the back. Coming down into that high plank position and just holding for a few breaths. And pushing back again into that downward facing dog and then walking the hands back towards the toes. Soften the knees. And rotating through the spine by lifting the hands straight up. Don't over rotate beyond the center. And look up at the hand. Softening the opposing knee to the lifted arm to really feel that stretch through the opposite leg. Rotating through the spine. Sweeping the arm right out and round. Opening up the chest and breathing with the movement. Inhale to lift, exhale to lower back down. Keeping the knees soft and softening the knees even more now and dropping down, clasping the hands behind your back and lifting away, dropping the shoulders back, lifting the hands away from the lower back to open up the shoulders, open up through the chest. Really soften the knees to make sure that you can hold that deep position. This isn't a hamstring stretch. Breathing throughout and try and straighten the knees now. Just standing up out of that squat position. Continuing to drop the hands over the head. Opening up the shoulders. Soften the knees as you lower the hands back down to come into a small squat. Take the hands down to the mat and walk out to a tabletop position again. Bringing the hands a little bit forwards to open the body up. I'm going to come into a high plank position, holding for a few seconds and stepping the right foot to inside the right hand, keeping the left knee up off the mat in high lunge. Holding for a few breaths. Dropping the knee to the mat and untucking the foot, bringing the right hand inside the right foot and walking the right foot out to the edge of the mat. Using the hands to facilitate the lowering movement, we're going to rock to the side and drop the left hip down to the mat. You can take hold of your right ankle if it helps with stability. Staying tall through that left arm, strong through the shoulders. Dropping the hips and pelvis to one side and really feeling this opening up through the hips and that left side of the body. Flexing through the spine and using the hands to bring yourself back up, bringing the foot back inside the hands and rocking backwards towards that back heel and extending the right leg. Pressing through the heel and just trying to get to the ball of the toe onto the mat as you extend through the hamstring. Your hands on the mat to stabilize yourself slightly, but just light on the fingertips, breathing throughout. And if you can extend this by tucking the back foot, sitting back, flexing the right ankle to pull through the calves and hamstrings, and then lightly again reaching forwards and really feeling this through the hamstring and calf. Breathing throughout and just trying to deepen into that stretch very slightly. Using the hands to carefully bring yourself back out into high lunge. Taking the foot back, holding in high plank for just a second to reset yourself and bringing that left foot forward inside the left hand. Holding the high lunge for a couple of breaths. Staying strong in the back and shoulders. Lowering the right knee, untucking the foot. Deepening into that hip flexor stretch by dropping the pelvis down towards the mat. Bring the left hand inside the left foot and walk the foot out to the edge of the mat. And using the hands to support the weight of your body, you're going to drop that pelvis towards the mat on the right side this time. Taking hold of the left ankle if you need to, just to stabilize it. Hold the foot in place. Breathing throughout. And with each exhale, feel yourself deepening into that stretch. Feeling the stretch through the right hip and right through the right hand side. Staying strong through the planted hand. And bringing the hands back in line. Bringing the foot back inside the hands and rocking back towards the back heel, straightening the left leg. Again, straighten that leg to feel the stretch through the hamstring in particular, and pointing the toes to try and get the balls of the foot down to the mat. If it doesn't get there, that's fine. Breathing throughout, deepening into the stretch with every exhale. And staying here, but if you want to further this stretch, just tucking the back foot, sitting back onto that back ankle, flexing the left foot to pull through the calf and the hamstring. Staying up tall if you need to, but leaning forwards into the stretch to deepen into that hamstring. just using light fingertips in front of you to support yourself. You're not leaning on the hands, you're just using them for balance and support. Breathing into the stretch. And using your hands to bring yourself back up into high lunge, and sweeping the leg back into high plank. Taking the feet together at the back, coming down to your knees, and taking the knees to mat width apart, keeping the toes together at the back and dropping back into child's pose to finish. A more relaxed child's pose than the beginning. So taking your elbows down to the mat and your forehead down to the mat to rest into the pose. Continuing to take long deep breaths in and long full breaths out to relax through the whole body, dropping into the hips. Maybe noticing a difference in range from the child's pose at the beginning. And when you're ready, walking your hands back up towards your body and taking your time to come up to standing and going back into your day.